What's up, everybody? Jerron Slaughter here with Ron Gregory Realty and Auction. And on today's episode of Secure Vibes Realties, we have my young client, De'Anton. De'Anton is 23 years of age and he made $40,000. Yes, $40,000 in just 1 year off this investment property here. We're gonna sit down with him and talk to him about his process of achieving home ownership and flipping it for profit. Come on.
Jerron, what's up, man?
What's up, De'Anton? Hey, I just want you to sit down with the people and talk to them a little bit about home ownership and what it's been for you and your experiences with it.
Let's talk about it, come on.
What's up, De'Anton?
Good,
man. Just want to jump right into it, man. You're 23 years old and you were able to make $40,000. How? What was your first step to acquiring home ownership so you can make a profit for it? What's your first step?
Man, I'd say the first step is getting your credit right. You know what I'm saying? Without credit, how you gonna get the money? So, to me, that was always my first step. Like, back when I was 15, 16, like, first, let me take it back. So first you gotta make a decision. If you want a house, you gotta make a decision and stand firm on it.
Right.
Cause there's so many hoops and hurdles along the way. Like I said before, back when I was 15, 16, it was more or less like, I knew without the money, I can't get nothing. I ain't got 100,000. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got 20, 30,000. So where am I gonna get it from, these banks? Well, what do the banks need? The banks wanna see that I can pay this money back. That's all they care about, cause they want their money off the top.
Right, so what would make you go buy a house other than renting?
It was about money. It was all about money. That's my experience, you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, at first it was a dream, you know, like just to have my own, just to own it. You know, it's so much better when you got your own or when you in an apartment. It's like, it's night and day. Like if I want to change the doorknob, I can change it in my house. Right. If I don't like the floors, I want to change it, I can do that in my house. If I want to paint the wall purple and blue, I can do it because it's my house.
So what was the first step you took? Okay, so I got my credit right. What was the next step? My credit's okay.
Now you need a little bit of money too.
You gotta have some money.
You gotta have some money.
You gotta be at your job for a certain amount of time, or?
Yeah. I mean, it's so many different variables. You know, as far as being on your job, you gotta be on your job for 2 years minimum. That's mandatory.
So you gotta be at your job for 2 years before you can even apply for a home. Apply for a loan.
Before you can even pre-qualify.
Before you can pre-qualify, you gotta.
That, and I would say, you also gotta show where you've been renting for 2 years.
So you need rental history. So you need to stay at your job for 2 years, and you need to keep some rental history.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's 2 years of staying at your job and rental history plus credit. So you got your credit, you got your rental history, you got your job experience, your job time.
Money. You gotta have
money. So your down payment, how much you put down? What kind of loan did you use?
I use conventional.
A conventional loan. What's the difference? What's the difference? What's another loan you can use? Conventional loan. So you use the conventional loan opposed to what?
I mean, you got VA, FHA. There's many different loans out there, but me personally, I use conventional.
Okay, so what was the benefits of you using a conventional loan? What does that mean?
Really, I mean, it's a lot of different variables that really don't have substance. What stuck out to me was more so the percentage that you can put down. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people think 20%. A lot of people still think to this day you gotta have 20% of whatever the purchase price is.
Right.
But like with a conventional, a lot of people don't know that you can put down 1%.
So it's possible you could put down 1%. How much did you put down on your house?
I put 3.5.
And you paid how much for it?
A little over 3,000.
Okay, so
on a $90,000 purchase.
So you paid $90,000 for it and you put 3.5 down. So it's about what, 3,000?
A little bit over 3.
After, okay. So what's your next step? You get your credit, you get your financing, all that pre-approval, you got your down payment. What comes next?
Like I was saying before, the first step is making a decision that this is what you're gonna do. And I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll talk about it later, but the first step is to make a decision. Mm-hmm. And then after you get all those other things out the way, the next step is more or less finding a realtor. finding a property. You know, once you got job history, rental history, you know, you find a budget. You know, that's important too. You know, you understand like how much can I actually afford. You know, once you actually get that out the way, you find your realtor.
So what was your realtor looking for process? What was your realtor searching process? How did you find you a realtor? Like, what you go to think about? Okay, so this person might be good for selling me a house.
Representation. Like, can I trust this person to work as hard or to care enough about selling me a home as I do buying one?
Because it's a big step.
It's a big step.
They don't have nothing invested, but
yes, sir.
But I understand what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
I understand what you're saying. So you got your realtor. Who pays for your realtor? Like who paid your realtor to represent you?
My seller. All sellers. If you a seller, you pay realtor fees.
So if you selling a home,
mm-hmm.
you gonna pay for this. You gonna pay for both of the realtors.
Yes, sir.
The buying agent and the selling agent.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they'll come to a number. When I say the seller will come to a number. They might say, I want to pay my realtors 10%. Mm-hmm. The average is 6. When I say 6, they split it. When I say they, I mean both sides. 3 and 3.
Seller and buyer.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. So seller split 3 and the buyer split 3, but the seller pays for the buyer and the seller's commission, right?
Exactly.
Okay. I got what you're saying. So after you get your realtor, what's your next step? You got your realtor, you got pre-qualified.
You gotta find a home, man.
That's the hardest part.
You gotta find a home.
That's the hardest part.
You just gotta. I mean, it all really depends on what it is, you know. Like, if you're anything like me, I was on the investment side. So when you invest, you gotta look at many different factors. You gotta look at, for example, can I make more money on a duplex than a house? Okay, well, what's the rental history? You know, if I am gonna rent it out, how do I want to invest it? Do I just want to flip it? Do I want to rent it out, like I was saying before, or you know, you just gotta figure out those little variables. If you're gonna stay in it, and this is gonna be a primary residence, you might want to look at things like, you know, how far is this property from the interstate? You know, what's the ratings of the schools? Like, is it tailored to my family's needs as far as, you know, if you got kids, you know, if they like to play or whatnot, does it have a park that I can easily, you know what I'm saying? If my child is sick, do I have access to a hospital, you know, with ease? Like, you just gotta really figure out basically, is this property tailored to my needs?
Right. So with the property, how I want to ask, with you ordering, how do I want to ask? Basically, is what I'm getting at. How did you know this property was for you? What brought you? Like, this property is for me. You don't have no kids. You know what I mean. You're not emotionally invested in the area. So how did you know this property was for you? Just equity wise?
No, I mean, that played a role in it, but
how big of a role did equity play in your home buying process? Because a lot of people don't even know what equity is. Equity
more or less is how much is your money in this property. You know, you can buy a house for $90,000. How much is it worth at that point? If it's only worth $90,000, then you have no money in this property.
Right.
Now, 50 years down the line, let's not taking into account interest rate. Let's just say you just paying back all principal. You know, 15 years down the line, you paid off half of it, that's $45,000. Now you have $45,000 equity in this home. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much what equity is for me. It played a big role because, like I said, I came into it as a way to make money. It was about a flip. It was about, can I rent this property? Can I make money off? Can I generate some kind of income off of this property?
So basically, you needed to find out if the property had equity in it before you even moved in it.
I wouldn't necessarily say that was something I had to find out, but it was something that I potentially wanted to know. It wasn't necessarily something that I cared about, in all honesty. When I bought my home, you know, it wasn't something that was on my mind. Now, I would tell the next person to definitely consider that, but my experience, that wasn't really something I was looking at. My experience was more or less, okay, how much does this home cost? can I attract people to live in this home? And just,
so you was gonna rent it out at first?
I was gonna rent it out at first. It was a rental property.
Okay. So, do you feel like instead of renting it out, selling it, which one would make more money, renting it or selling it for profit? Which one would make more money in a 10-year span?
A 10-year span, they both make money. I mean, honestly, they both make money, man. But once again, it's just about the type of person you are.
So why you didn't rent it out?
Because I wanted the money, and it did.
You wanted right now money.
I wanted right now money. I didn't want to wait 10 years, on a condo. If I had a duplex and I had other endeavors and I had multiple properties, okay, I might can rent this out 10 years down the line, because I know I got 20,000, 20 properties, that's generating money. I can sit on these. But me personally, like I stated before, other endeavors, that's more or less off topic, but I needed the money right now. I need the money today. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you bought your home, you got a couple dollars in equity in it. What did you do to it while you were in it to improve the land? To improve your value of your house, what did you do while you was in it? So how much did you pay for it? How much did you pay for your house? You said $90,000, right?
$90,000 was the total purchase price.
Okay, so how much did you feel like you had to put in it to get a profit out of it?
At first, I really wasn't sure. I'm gonna be honest, I really wasn't sure. Later on down the line, I understood that, because this was my first property. So I made mistakes along the way, But like I stated before, later on down the line, I understood if you do certain things like changing out a light fixture, that has so much value. Whereas if you keep old chandeliers or old, just replacing knickknacks can add value to your home. Right. I mean, what I did was, the very first day I got it, I ripped up the carpet. The very first day. And I laid laminate floors throughout the whole home, upstairs, downstairs, closets, whatever the case scenario may be. Painted every inch of every wall in this home has got new paint on it. You know what I mean?
So how much do you think just laying down laminate floors, how much do you think that improved on your value instantly? How much do you think?
I know I got my investment back. And
just from laying floors down.
I got my investment back, and I would say what I invested, I know it was double what I put in, for sure.
Just for ripping up floors. That's amazing. So you in it, you going through all the knickknacks, walls, floors, placing light fixtures. When do you decide that you want to sell it, and how do you decide what you want to sell it for?
I'm gonna say this: anything you do it with integrity. So I decided that I was ready once I said there's nothing left for me to do. Me personally, with buying a home, you gotta have heart, because you may have wins, but you also may have losses. A home is gonna be everyone. If you have the opportunity to buy a home, that's gonna be one of the biggest purchases you ever make. Right. And it comes with wins and it comes with losses. So right. I knew it was time for me to sell. Once I did realize, hey, I can make a certain amount, and I feel comfortable enough to put somebody else in this home, and I left everything on the table, like everything. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So what I mean by that is, like, it was times when I redid the floors and painted, like I was stating before, but I didn't feel right about it because the kitchen needed updating. Like, could I get more money? You know what I'm saying? And at that point, it was like, nah.
And you want to update it? You want to update it? They come in and look around, like, dang, why the kitchen not updated?
Right, I wanted my buyer to feel good, basically.
Right, they come in, why the kitchen not updated? So we can lowball on this offer. So do you feel like, what did you sell it for, if you don't mind me asking?
I sold it for $130.
You sold it for $130. So you paid $94, you sold it for $130. And you put in floors, you repainted, did a little bit of kitchen work, did a little bit of bathroom work. How much do you think you put in upgrades?
$5,000 to $7,000.
$5,000 to $7,000.
Let's just say $6,000.
So let's say $96,000. So you in at $96,000, you sell it for $130. What's your next step? You selling for 130, and then what?
What's my next?
My first question with that, is that okay with your loan officer, with whoever lent you your loan?
To pay it off early, yes. That's what they're in it
Oh,
for.
so that's what you basically paying it off with.
Basically.
And taking your profits.
Basically. Taking profits off the top.
Do you have to pay taxes for that?
Taxes, realtor fees, closing costs. Seller has to pay a little bit.
So basically it's just normal. You make money, we take money. Okay, I understand that. So 130, do you feel like 130, selling it for 130 is a good profit after a year?
Yes. It could have been more. But like I said before, I have the spirit of an entrepreneur. So even if I'm making 10,000, who am I to complain? You know what I'm saying? Like, even if I'm making 10,000, I can say, if I put 10,000 in the property, let's just say 10,000. I put 10,000 in the property, a year later, I can make another 10,000 on top of it and still get my 10 back. Yeah.
So what could you have done to make more money? Because it seems like you bought it for 90,000. How much could it have rose in a year? How much equity could you have gained in a year? Because that's 40,000. So how much it takes people? Normally it takes people around 10 years to get 40,000.
I'm gonna say in another year, I probably could have got another 5% of the total purchase price.
So what would you have had to do to get an extra 5%?
Wait.
Because of what?
The market.
Wait on what?
The market. The market fluctuates, so no market in any investment stays the same. No housing market will ever stay the same. We could be living in $1 million house, but if the economy around me is terrible and nobody's here and no money's being generated, that $1 million property will soon enough and sure enough be a $500,000 property.
Do it matter how many houses are on sale over here?
No. I mean, you might scare a buyer, but that's a buyer. A person can look at it and say, well, okay, let's take, for example, my case scenario. I live in a condominium. Why are so many homes for sale? That's a question. Right. But would it deteriorate everyone? No. Right.
So would that inflate your price, or would that decrease your price because a lot of homes are for sale?
It really wouldn't have anything to do with it. Just houses are selling,
As long as your house is in good standing. Right. Okay. So what's your process of closing? So we got a sale. We got somebody that's gonna buy it for 130 after we paid 90 for it a year ago. So we're in the process of closing. What's that process like?
Stressful.
Stressful. What's stressful about closing? You about to get your money, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just, going through the entire process. Like I stated before, to win, you may have to lose. I won't be a liar and say closing on the buying and the selling end was easy. It was stressful. You have to make sure all your documents are in a row. Everything has to be accounted for. Because when you're buying a property, financial loan officers, they want to say or see, okay, how much money was they generating within this 2-year span? Mm-hmm. Because you've been on your job 2 years, like, have you consistently made this money that can make these payments? They want to see like what you spend your money on.
That debt to income ratio, right?
Exactly. Okay. So that's stressful. Getting all those documents. I mean, it's doable, but it's stressful.
It's doable. It's most.
And it's exciting. It's exciting. It's overwhelming. It's a lot of different emotions. Even for a non-emotional man, a non-emotional person, or an overly emotional person, man, it's exciting. Man. It's exciting. It's stressful. It's ups. It's downs. It's a lot to be said, but I mean, overall, it's doable. I'm 23 years of age. I never would have thought that I would be in this position. So anyone can do it.
So you would describe your experience basically like a euphoric experience for homeownership? Okay.
That's a good way.
Okay. So when we closing, we're gonna close and you get your money, and then what?
Like, what's the next step for me, or as far as the property?
What's the next step for everybody? So we get closing.
I got you. So as far as my mortgage company, they excited. They got their money. As far as the realtors involved, I mean, they get, like I stated to you before, it depends on what the seller negotiates. So if they negotiate on a super high end 10%, realtors are happy because they just made 5% of whatever the total purchase price was.
So everybody gets paid when closing, right?
Everybody gets paid.
From the top to the bottom.
From the top to the bottom.
Sellers, realtors, brokers, everybody gets paid.
Everybody gets a check.
Only when it closes though, right?
Only when it closes, yeah. I mean, contracts, man, even with a signature, that's more or less, that's just a promise. Nothing in life is guaranteed until the deal closes. Until your actual closing day, you got that signature on, this is my property.
Mm-hmm. So what can happen up until closing day? Like, can you back out? You know what I mean? What kind of scares do you have around closing time?
It just depends on what side of the fence you're on. If you're a buyer, the ball is more so on your part. You do have the option to pretty much say, hey, I don't want the property anymore. But once again, pros and cons come into effect. So depending on where you are in the actual contract, you may or may not lose what's called earnest money. What that earnest money will do, it'll pretty much go to an escrow account for the seller. So, but long story short, what'll happen?
So basically, that earnest money is like a security deposit?
It's a deposit.
Okay.
It's a deposit. It's a deposit that say, hey, I'm willing to put this much money down on this property for right now, with a promise to close. And if I don't close, I'm willing to forfeit this money.
Okay. In your case, what would be a deal breaker for you? Like
from a buyer's aspect or a seller's aspect?
From a seller's aspect, what would be a deal breaker if they came, you said you wanted 130 for it, they had 130.
A deal breaker for me, I mean, when I was selling the property, I just approached it as how serious were they? If a person came and they said, hey, I'll be there at 1 o'clock and they show up at 2 o'clock, they may not be serious, So I'm gonna try to consider this contract. But me personally, I try to make sure all T's are crossed, all I's are dotted. So what I mean by that is, with me and my realtor, I made sure they had a contract. Well, not a contract, but I made sure they had the pre-approval when they sent the offer. So I want to know you got the money in front.
So when they send the offer, with that offer, you wanted pre-approval, like basically a letter from the lender.
Exactly.
Your bank statement.
Exactly. Like, I'll take whatever. I want to know you got the money.
You got money. That's all you want to know is you got money. But
exactly.
If you can't prove that, that's a deal breaker for you, right?
Exactly. Now from a buying aspect, what a deal breaker for me was more or less the inspection. Because I want to know everything. I want to know how the roof is. I want to know the foundation. I mean, I'm putting a marble on the ground and making sure it don't roll just to make sure the foundation is good. I'm checking every aspect. Like, nothing is being unchecked. From the light bulbs, like, I want to make sure everything. I'm going to bring my own light bulbs. If you ain't got a light bulb in that light, I'm going to put one in there.
So all this goes into effect when you're thinking about just buying a home or investment property or just period. I
mean, anything in life you gotta be thorough. Like I told you before, if you do it with integrity. If you do it right the first time. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely. So after you close, we at the money part. After you close, what's the next step?
Let's talk about money. I mean, from a buyer's aspect, you kind of sad, your pockets hurt,
right?
But you excited that you got your home. From a seller's aspect, I mean, it's time to go do whatever it is you want to do. Me personally, like I said before, I have an entrepreneur spirit, so my money will be invested into other endeavors. But if you're a person, you retired or whatever the case scenario may be, it's time to go to Florida. I mean, just whatever person you are, it's just you got the bag. You got the bag to do it.
So how do you feel like after your house closed? How do you feel after your house closed? Because we have a closing in 2 or 3 days. So what's your thoughts leading up until closing? Personally.
A mix of emotions. I'm gonna be honest.
Why you say that?
I mean, you're eager to get it done. It's exciting. Like I said before, this is my first property. This is what I wanted to do since I was 15 years old. 15.
And you're 23 now.
And I'm 23 now. So it's just, I mean, everybody's different, but for me, it's just a mix of emotions. I'm just happy.
That sounds about right, don't it?
Yes, sir.
What could you have done better with your investment property that you have here now?
research, man. Research is super important. You know, you gotta research everything you do. And I think when I bought my home, I knew a lot, but I didn't know enough.
What didn't you know when you bought your home? Because it feel like we did all the research. It feels like we did all the research. So what didn't we research?
Knickknacks. When I say that, I mean miscellaneous things as far as when I'm selling my home, I have a condominium, so I have to take into account HOA.
What is that?
So
it's
HOA,
the first time we heard about this today.
So HOA, long story short, is what you would pay in a condominium or a certain neighborhood to maintain certain things.
Common ground, right?
A common ground. That's fair to put it. That's a fair way to put it. Mine in particular, I have a pool, I have a basketball court, I have a tennis court. They pay for the grass, they pay the water bill, they pay the sewer line, they pay the insurance. So that's what pays that's what I'm paying for monthly. Okay. But to go along with it from once again a seller's aspect, I didn't realize that. I mean, honestly, my community. When I say community, I mean the condominium was in debt. That was one thing I never looked at.
How can a whole community be in debt?
Yeah, so
that don't make no sense to me.
If you in a community, if one person don't pay their bill, no, everybody don't pay the bill. If the bill's not on time, it doesn't. Yeah, the HOA. So if they don't have, when I say they, I mean the management company. If they don't have the means to pay that water bill or to pay the pool boy to clean out the pool, you know, those things won't be covered. So even though I paid mine on time, Sally and John and whoever else, they didn't pay theirs on time. As a collective unit, it didn't get done.
So they can take your market value down, right?
Nah,
that doesn't affect your market value?
No, it wouldn't take the market value down because this property is still worth XYZ amount of dollars. And that'll never change. This land, the property, when I say the property, I mean the actual home and the land that it sits on, the price will never fluctuate because of the HOA. But it will affect, you know, a buyer from buying the property if they know that, hey man, you know, if they foreclose on this property because nobody's paying the HOA, or what if I need to get my grass cut and, you know, we don't have a certain money in the reserves account, or we don't have a certain money, you know, that's supposed to be put up for the budget for cutting the grass or the pool boy, you know what I'm saying? Like,
how you found out the HOA was in debt?
Selling, upon selling. I never knew it upon selling.
So when you bought it, you didn't know your HOA was in debt.
Correct.
But when we get ready to sell it, you find out after a couple phone calls like, your HOA reserve is short, right?
Exactly.
So what does that mean for you as a seller?
As a seller, it just means we're gonna have a more difficult time selling this property.
Why?
Because banks are looking at it and saying, you know, we don't want to finance this property if they're not financially strong. Because if
the condominium?
The condominium.
Okay. As a whole, so the condominium strong as in basically finances, right?
Exactly.
So what would make them low on finances? What causes that?
Just simply put, people not paying the HOA. I mean, just simply put.
So in simpler terms, if everybody doesn't pay the HOA, it gets taken out on everybody by making short reserves. And what does that do to your sale price, basically? If you have short reserves, what does that do for your sale price?
Like I stated to you before, you know, it doesn't necessarily change it. Now, it could change it depending on, you know, the buyer's lender. If they're saying, hey, you know, we need numbers to match. What I mean by that is, let's say, for example, the reserves account. Let's just take that for example. If we're supposed to have 10%, but we don't have 10%, the bank can still approve that loan, but they have to make the reserves 10% by lowering the price.
So that lowers your asking price, basically.
Basically. So for example,
match what they're saying.
Basically. So let's take $100,000 property, right? 10% of $100,000 is $10,000. But let's say our reserves or the condominium that you were, you know, trying to purchase is only at 5%. The reserves account is only at 5%. They have to make it 5%. They have to match it. So which means you can only sell that property, as far as that lender, you can only sell that property for $50,000.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we hit on HOA. We hit on what it takes for you to get in the house. We hit on your improvements of the house. So let's hit on what has home ownership been to you? How has it affected your life and your finances?
I mean, different stages. You know, in the beginning, it took a big portion of my finances because you're talking about down payment. You know, you're talking about renovations. You know, you're talking about a lot of different variables once again. So, you know, at first, it was ugly. It took a dent in my pocket, but now.
Side question: how long were you saving to get into a house?
I can't put a time frame on it.
You was just saving money because
I was just saving money.
Until you got about how much saved, and then you was like, "Let's go get this house."
I knew I was ready once I had from what I thought I was gonna need. Now it ended up being a lot more than that, but I thought I was only gonna need about $5,000 for renovations and then 3.5%. So I budgeted 3.5% of 100,000, and then once I had 5,000 more, I feel like I was comfortable. So once I had roughly, I think I had maybe about 9,000. I said, let's go for it.
So you said you ready. So, because you really gonna need about 4,000 plus an extra 45 for, you know, if anything happens.
Right. But once again, we're just talking about from an investment standpoint. You feel me?
Right.
Now, if I was just a buyer, 4,000, you in the game. You know what I mean?
You in the dough 4,000. You paying your mortgage next month, and you good.
4,000. And honestly, a lot of people don't know too. When you buy a home, they give you an extra 30 days. So it's not necessarily the next month; it's the month after. They can start your close or they can open a loan. The bank, when I say they, whenever you want to, so they can start it a month after the closing or after you close.
So you saying you can move into a crib, be in there for a month, not have the money just quite yet, but pay them next month, and that'll start your first month's mortgage payment.
Yep. So if you close January 1st. You don't have to pay them in February. You will pay them in March.
Right, basically that down payment kind of covers it, kind of.
Honestly, I don't know how that part of the game works. I just know from what was told to me. I think that's more or less just a grace period, in all honesty. Now, I could be wrong, but I think that's just more or less a grace period because the banks understand, you feel.
So how has this investment affected your life?
The investment or just owning a home?
Well, kind of both, because in your case, you were just going in to buy a home and then you found out you can get some equity out of it. So what has you owning this home, how has that affected your life? Because I know you were going to have to live somewhere anyway. So what was the standpoint for you to, you know, be
it affected me. It affected my mentality. Let me say that. And I say that because it made me stronger. It made me believe in myself. You know, me personally, I did all my renovations myself.
So you did the floors, the walls, painting. You did it yourself. You didn't hire a contractor.
By myself, no contractor. By myself. So everything from ripping up the floors to laying the floors to ripping the countertops, ripping the counters out, putting the counters down, laying ceramic tile, laying the self-leveler to make sure the floors is even, hanging the chandeliers, hanging the hood over the stove, installing the stove. I had to change the electric socket. I mean, it goes in detail. I did everything myself.
Like how? Like you're not a contractor,
YouTube.
So how? YouTube. So you can really learn something off the internet.
YouTube and Google, man. It's just weird. You just gotta have. You just gotta have a will to do it. Like I told you, earlier in the interview, man. You just gotta make a decision. That goes to, like I was saying, you gotta make a decision and you gotta stand on it. Because it was a lot of times when I was faced with adversity, and when I say like my mental, it affected me mentally because it was a point in time I had a water line to bust. And I needed to get it fixed right then and there. And then at this point, everybody water lines in Nashville was busted. So it was more or less, I called a plumber, they said they wouldn't get to me for 2 weeks. Meanwhile, I got this water leak, like eventually my place gonna flood. I had to do it myself. You know what I'm saying? And it just made me strong. It made me realize I can do it. I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you no game either. When I first got into it, I didn't have hot water. So I was taking cold showers. When I first got into it, it was middle of the summertime, I didn't have no air. In the wintertime, I didn't have no heat. But it was overcoming like the adversity and just believing in yourself and understanding like in real estate and any type of investment, but especially real estate, Man, it's about the long haul. It ain't about right now. We can get that fixed later on, but for right now, this is my situation. I can't cry about yesterday. I just gotta keep on going and look forward to tomorrow.
Most definitely. Most definitely. So what you told us how it affected your life. So what are you gonna do tomorrow? After we close, what's your move?
I'm gonna fly to Hawaii.
Gone.
I'm gone. No, I'm just playing, man. I mean, you know.
It's $40,000. It's a $40,000 profit here. So it's not no little boy money. So what do you plan on doing? For the future.
Keep going. It's just about keep going, gain and maintain. That's the name of the game, gain and maintain for me. So if I can put my money into something else, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay. So we talked about what it took for you to get a house. We talked about what you did while you were in the house. We talked about what you're gonna do when you leave here. I think we covered everything. So I appreciate you sitting down with us.
That's good, man.
With Secure Vibes Realtors. We're here with De'Anton, who was 23 years old. He made $40,000 off of this house right here. This is how he did it.